Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. In today's video, I want to go over the event that just popped, right? The Lunar Halo Radiance, which is pretty much the mid-season event of Season 2. And, well, as always, you know, some of the stuff's going to be similar. However, I want to see what's going to be the rewards, what's going to be the challenge bosses. And I guess it's going to be kind of like my first impression based on this. So let's get into this one. Now, as always, I do want to mention, if you want to support me as a content creator, you can use the code OddOne that you see over there at the top. Costs you nothing, helps me a ton, and you know, you're going to get some free stuff instantly while, or when it's still available. But Lunar Halo Radiant has popped, and it's pretty similar to Season 1. We have at the bottom lots of rewards that gives us, like with Healer Light, with the Oddite extracts, with stamina, with scrolls, you know, just the usual normal stuff like we had Season 1. By just completing the daily challenges. The goal is to obviously get to maybe maximum of 800. After that, it's just bragging rights, right? Or depends on your server how far you can compete. I already know that on my server, it's going to be hard. I'm going to try to get in top 100 because, you know what, my server is full of Kraken. So, you know, being free to play, it's hard to compete with them, but I still try and do my best. Then we still have the same thing, the Traveler's Tribute, which pretty much when you get the points, right, or whatever they're called, these lunar thingies, I'm gonna check how they're called, but every time you get them, you get some stuff for free, which, you know what, 1, 2, 3, 4 Healer Lights for free, and then some Starlight just from this Lunar Halo Radiance banner pack, pass, whatever it is. It's pretty good, right? It's just getting more free stuff alongside the one that we can already get at the bottom. Now, the price tier for this one's going to be Arress, which is pretty amazing, right? I'm not gonna have a look at her. I'm gonna maybe once everybody starts getting her, if you play for the first time and you never had her, I'm gonna make a full gun on her. But I'm gonna tell you, she's one of the best tanks in the game, because not only can she be an amazing tank, she brings defense aura, she also brings an amazing passive that's gonna be given to everybody. She brings healing, defense up, and you know what, there's a quirky thing about her that allows her, once she casts the ultimate, to wear the witch's remains. You heard that right. She casts her ultimate and that starts doing single target hits. She can place defense penalty, so you know that might open up a spot for you for another damage dealer, so you don't have to use a damage dealer with accuracy. So definitely something worth keeping in mind for the future. But when it comes to the dungeon ones, there's one thing that I personally went and tested. I collected the double material drops from the 3 ones that I personally believe to be the best, which is going to be the ones that can drop mythic gear. And what I went to check is, can we actually get double drops from the challenges? Well, the answer is no, right? I tested it, I run it, it only gives you 1 piece drop. So obviously these ones you can choose on whichever you want, because the double concentrate, which means 10 runs a day, is going to give you double the drop rate. So whichever you choose from these, right, you can choose 3 dungeons per week. So it can be the gear dungeons, the domains, or it can be like, you know, the rune ones. Those ones are gonna give you a chance to, you know, when you farm to give double drop rates, but it's only gonna be 10 a day. Be careful when you lock these if you wanna lock other ones, but you know what? Always choose, from my point of view, if you choose the gear ones like Venom, Curse, and Rot, you're not gonna be able to go wrong, right? It's not gonna be a wrong thing, it's gonna be just, yay, higher chances of getting those awesome pieces of mythic gear. Then what else? Apart from that, it's just gonna be the usual. And then the Continental challenges. This is something that I wanted to look at because they're a bit different, right? It's going to be the same thing. Damage rewards, depending on the damage you do, each one gives you 25. Again, massive warning. This is one of the biggest warnings that I always try to give people when it comes to Continental challenge side of things, because a lot of people might do this mistake. They might be like, oh yeah, like I'm not necessarily talking about people that you see over here, because maybe, you know what, maybe they're just casuals, or maybe that's just, you know, somebody they wanted to go ahead and it is what it is. But the main thing that I want to give people warning is the fact that don't rush into it, right? You don't have to do these day 1. You have a full week to do the first 2 challenges. The week after is going to be 4, and the week after is going to be 6, right? Again, same as Season 1, but the reality is if you do these on day 1, you're going to be missing out on improvements. You might be able to get better gear for other people. You're 100% going to be able to try and get yourself some more psychic core improvements, right? You can get maybe more levels in the elemental affinity in a day or 2. So every single piece, every single boost that you can get can be the difference between you actually managing to, you know, place at the top if you're trying to compete or not. If you're somebody who just casually plays, doesn't really care about competing too high, then obviously do them whenever you have time. But at the same time, do keep in mind, if you're trying to leave it for the last day, make sure you're available on that last day, right? Or just, you know, do some testing, prepare the teams, don't save them and then just run them last day if you don't have time to try and get a lot better. But let's have a look at the bosses, the chief challenges. Let's see what do they actually do. So maybe what I'm going to try and look at is like, what do they do and what is, as first impression, the team that I would suggest to try and use for this. Okay, so first one that we see is going to be Chief Challenge Alton. For him, it says damage dealt by the ally summoned unit with the highest attack is increased by 360%, which sounds like a lot. Each time a buff is dispelled from or blocked on an enemy, allies gain one undispellable stack of 5% attack up, lasting indefinitely up to 20 stacks. So what I see over here is straight up gonna be the summon team. That's what I believe, right? Summon team's gonna be the best. I mean, obviously this is again, it's first impression. We might see once we tested that there might be some crazy stuff with Arress, I guess, or there might be some quirky stuff with some other heroes, but first impression, this straight up tells you want to use a summon team. Obviously with Bernard, that's going to be good with Alwanes. And then obviously you're going to want to try and get some form of dispelling or blocking buffs. Now, one easy way to do that is by having Rippercast, right? Rippercast has a chance to do the block buffs. Or if we go in, you know, let me just go in and see exactly what you have for elemental pairing. That should be a lot easier to check. So if you look at fire plus poison, and let's say a special dispel buff, we see that we have over here, what's his name? This can be a good idea. Journ, Holdork, then we have Dane that I know removes buffs. Also, Deverick removes buffs and brings attack down. So these are some options. So that could be the way. Or there's the other one that says block buffs, right? Buff prohibition. Then you only have, you know, not too many options. So ideally for this, if you want to go with the summon team, then you're going to try and have somebody that blocks, that removes buffs. Okay. Moving on to the next one, Chief Challenger Zillas. Each time an ally ultimate skill hits an enemy, the next cast of their ultimate skill deals 10% more damage. So it's only 10% boost, I think, so it's not the craziest. Next one, for each negative effect on the boss, their damage dealt decreases by 10% up to 5 negative effects counted. So honestly, I feel like for this one, the damage team should be something like an AoE one. You know what? Maybe for this is actually going to be a summon team. The reason why I'm saying that is because let me just randomly throw a team in there just so we see what's happening. I guess any team can go. But the reason why I believe that a summon team is going to be good for this one is because of the fact that he's going to be doing summons, right? Which means the fact that he's going to do summons, you're not going to have enough damage to kill them, but you're gonna want to have as much AoE damage as possible. That's what I believe, right? Because the damage that you're gonna do on his summons are gonna count as actual damage. I have a feeling that maybe for this it's gonna be a Frost team, right? I have a feeling not a Ice Blast team, right? Not a team with Beldel, you know, and stuff like that. I do believe because we see so many summons, this team might actually have to be a Vidimir team. Same as we had last season with Vaska. I feel like Vidimir is gonna be the way to go with this one, right? Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree, but that's what I believe. Again, this is just first look. I'm gonna be doing some testing, and I'm 100% gonna be releasing videos on every single one of these challenges. You know, I guess it's gonna be the first impression, first testing team. Then as I improve them, or as I see or get more ideas, I'm gonna release more. Okay, moving on to the next one, Tal War. So, what Tal War says, each time an ally deals derivative damage, they gain one undispellable stack of 1% attack up, lasting indefinitely up to 80 stacks. So each time an ally deals derivative damage. So I have a feeling this is only when that ally deals derivative damage, so that attack up is not going to go to all of them. That's worth keeping in mind. Then it also says each time an enemy takes derivative damage, their next derivative damage taken is increased by 30%. This effect can trigger up to 5 times and resets if no derivative damage is taken within 2 seconds. So what I believe this means is that this one can go up to 150% extra damage taken from derivative damage, which makes me believe that the perfect team for this, also when we look at this part, is going to be 2 variations or 2 options from my point of view. Either a poison team, right, because poison is all about derivative damage, or it could be a thunderbolt team, right? Because if we talk about thunderbolt, we're gonna see that most of the damage, or if not mistaken, all of the damage is derivative damage. If we look at this, let me see, is Nissa one that has derivative damage? Yep, okay, so electrocuted, lightning chains, derivative damage, right? So this might be an option. Perkunta, if you look at him, his damage is gonna be scaling off of enlightenment, which means, you know what, attack enlightenment, you're not gonna get him crit rate. Electrocuted again. The cool thing is the electrocuted is gonna work perfectly against him, because what Tal War does is he summons that mushroom. He's gonna throw mushroom here. Well, electrocuted is like a chain lightning that happens, which means it can bounce between him and the mushroom. So I do believe that's gonna be one of the options, poison or thunderbolt. Okay, moving on. Chief Challenge Auster. For each debuff stack on the boss, their damage taken increases by 4%, up to 60 stacks counted. Okay, this one's poison, straight up, right? Because poison is the only one that you can get up to like 60 stacks, so I do believe that maybe that's gonna be the way. Over here, gonna wanna go with poison. Also says, after an ally resists or dispels one debuff stack, they gain one undispellable stack of damage reduction, lasting indefinitely up to 30 stacks. So this one's gonna be, I do believe this one's gonna be a poison team with an Ogok or with somebody else that, you know, does some cleansing. That's just first look, that's what I believe is gonna be the case. Okay, moving on, next one's gonna be Chief Challenge Journ. For each buff held by allies, the damage dealt by their ultimate skill is increased by 40%, up to 10 stacks counted. Interesting. So this is gonna be like, I mean, I have no idea how you can get 10 counts, 10 buffs on the team. Also, the reality is that shields, I don't think they count as buffs, so that's definitely worth keeping in mind. I cannot think of any team that can have like 10 buffs. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe Rally, right? Because I think the Rally can get like up to 3 of them, and maybe I have a feeling like Gladius allows it to go over. So maybe that's just straight up 3 buffs, so that might be the case. Also, let's see what's the next one. For each buff held by allies, damage taken is reduced by 10%, up to 5 stacks counted. So you can get 50% damage mitigation, 400% extra damage. So again, I have a feeling that maybe this is going to be Rally, because buff counted, like each Rally counts as a different buff from what I've read in their kits and stuff. So maybe this is going to be Rally. Also, you're definitely going to want to try and get a debuffer in here, because he puts that defense up on himself, and that's going to be quirky, plus he puts attack down, so going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to be testing Rally. Apart from that, I think, like, I don't know, the other option that I'm thinking could work would be maybe just throwing Ice Blast against him, because in an Ice Blast team, you can throw, you can throw some people like Felocia, that brings quite a few buffs, but then you also have people like Mithrasia, right, that brings a ton of buffs if you ever. If you do this with her, this talent, she puts 2 stacks of recovery over time. I hope that counts as 2 buffs. That can be really good. And then she brings 2 debuffs on the ultimate. 2 buffs on the 3 buffs on the ultimate. Resurrection at death, debuff immunity, and invisibility only for ranged ones though. So let's say Baldel will not have this last one. However, Mithrasia would just straight up bring 2 + 2, 4 buffs. So maybe that's gonna be the way, right? Again, Rally, or it's gonna be Ice Blast, which is gonna be really good. And the next one, if we look at Gishnar, challenge boss, crit damage dealt by allies increased by 100%. Okay. Each time a buff is dispelled from or blocked on an enemy, allies gain 1 undispellable stack of 10% attack, lasting indefinitely up to 10 stacks. So this one kind of sounds like just straight up, doesn't matter who does it, all of your allies can get up to 100% extra attack up, which is going to be massive, because it counts on your total attack. And then when we look at the first one, crit damage dealt by allies is increased by 100%. This is quirky. This might be, I have a feeling, you know what, I have a feeling that the best team over here is going to actually be Ice Blast, right? Like, I'm swapping again. I do believe it's going to be Ice Blast. The reason for this is crit damage benefits all of your Ice Blast people. Then dispelling buffs you can actually do with the talent. I showed this in a previous video. You can do it by having, like, you know, Sheena Witch's Remains, or whoever's gonna be your Witch's Remains. And then you can have this one. After a total of 10 stacks of ice crystals are consumed by allies, dispel 1 buff from a random enemy. So you can dispel buffs without actually bringing a designated buff dispeller. That's definitely good to keep in mind. And the boss, if I have a look, he does he gains lots of buffs, attack up, damage up, and defense up for 10 seconds. That's gonna hurt. And then if we look at this, he does full board damage to all enemies, and then inflicts defense penalty. Well, the good thing is that he only does single target, and then this is the only time that he does full board. So you don't care that you have defense penalty, you can just walk it off or just, you know, have somebody tank it and you should be good to go, right? Let's see, what does his passive do again? A hero takes 50% less non-crit damage. So 100% you want to make sure that whatever you bring in this team is going to be critting. So that's pretty interesting, right? It's pretty interesting. It kind of makes me wonder though, where are we going to use a wild team? Where are we going to use a wild team against this? Because from what I looked, it's going to be like, you know, most of it, didn't scream at me, use the wild team. But I'm quite sure we're going to find a way. I just realized that my video might have been blurry all the video. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think is going to be the teams for this? Personally, looking at, you know, first look, if we're focusing around this specific necro damage dealer, I think it's going to be Alton. Team going with summons. If you're looking at Zillas, I have a feeling it's going to be AoE, stuff like Frost. If you look at Tal War, again, Poison or Thunderbolt. Then if we look at him, if we look at what's his name, if we look at Auster, is going to be Poison. If we look at Journ, is going to be Rally or Thunderbolt or Ice Blast, and then Gishnar is going to be Ice Blast. Interesting. That's interesting. I'm really wondering what I'm gonna be building. The cool thing is, I personally invested this season heavily into the Ice Blast teams, right? The what's it called, Frost plus Radiance one. I didn't go too crazy on Wild, so maybe, you know, maybe that's gonna benefit me because it doesn't look like I'm gonna use the the Wild team anywhere. But I think this pretty much covers it for today. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with the choices that I've seen, with the people that I suggested. I'm really curious. Also, keep an eye out on the channel because, well, like I said, I'm gonna release teams. I'm gonna do lots of testing against all of these bosses, and I'm gonna try and put out the best possible content and teams that I can for you guys, so we can blast this one and have fun while we are at it. But thank you for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next. Don't forget to support me using code OddOne while it's still available, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.